Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to install recessed lighting, more specifically dealing with remodeling a home. The one that I personally like to use are, so first I'll go through some tools that you need in order to continue with the remodeling process, and then I'll show you tips and tricks on how to do it. What you need is, first of all, when you remodel a home, don't ever purchase these cans in a complete kit because those are not as great as the one that are sold individually like these, and you have to buy its own trim. So the one that I'm using and the one that I would recommend is a 5-inch Halo brand. The model is a remodel one. It's H5RICAT, which is airtight seal. I'm sorry, you can have insulation over the top, and that's the one I would recommend purchasing. And then you also need to purchase the trim that goes with, or the baffle that goes with these ones. This runs for about like $13–14, and then this other baffle runs around like $11 or $12. So it comes out to about $25 for one of these, and then you can use whichever light bulbs. That's your choice. Tools that you need: drywall cutting saw. Get the one that is the one I use is Irwin. The blade is a little bit thinner, so it cuts a little bit better. You can bend around the hole. You need a utility knife. You need some masking tape, tape measure, stud finder. Now, the one I use, the stud finder that I use, is a magnetic one that finds the stud by finding the nails that goes into the drywall, and this one works really well. I would recommend using this over using something like this. I hate this. I love this. You will like it too. It's only $7 to $8 from Amazon. Get it, it'll make your life easy. Now, before we start, if you're here looking for tips on how to put these clips in, then let me start with that. And then I'm sure if you're watching this video, you have a little bit of knowledge of what you're doing. You probably cut the hole and everything, but having trouble putting this can in, which I have ran into a lot of them when I first started my project. And instructions doesn't really, they don't really show you on how to do this clip. Now, the clip, I'll show you. The clip will, probably when you look at this clip, they will snap into it really well, really easily. Like that. You see how it just kind of snaps in? Like that. It snaps in again. Now, once you have inserted this onto the ceiling, this snapping mechanism isn't that easy, and I think you know what I'm talking about if you've done this before. So the trick that I do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take each one of these clips out, and then I'm just gonna bend them a little bit, and this actually really helps. So I'm gonna bend them open just a little bit so that it's a little bit more wide, like that. And then I'm going to insert them back into the chamber. It's chamber here. All right. Okay, so they go back to the chamber, and then now the clicking mechanism is gonna come a lot easier. Now all you have to do is once you have this inserted into the ceiling, snap this, and it will snap in really easily. Guarantee it will snap in really easily. And then the trick is you need to use a flat-headed, and that's why I have this with me. Now what you need to do is you need to scrape off this little insulation, and then you're gonna expose a little piece of like a stopper. Now you have to insert this flathead into that stopper, and then you have to and then maybe this flathead isn't ideal, but use a really small flathead like this one. And then what you have to do is you have to lock it into place. So you have to take this, see how you have to insert this head into that little hole right there, and then you have to wiggle it. Somewhat pull it out so this piece comes out. And then once this piece comes out, the goal is to get this to slide up so it locks it in place.
So you have to slide up like this. You have to kind of wiggle. See how you wiggle and it slides up? You see how it slides up? See how, okay, so, okay, you snap into place, right? And then you have to use, and then so, again, sometimes the snapping mechanism is going to take you a lot of time. So you have to bend this out and then use your flathead and then just kind of wiggle it and then move it up. See? Move it up like that. Once you move this up, then it locks into place and it's not going to snap out anymore. And you're done. So again, move it up like this and you'll light it. Move it up and your light is locked into place like that. Okay, so that's the tricky part. But once you get that, then everything works well. All right. So now let's go over and I'll show you how to measure the light. Like this house right here, I'm working in the second story. The house has a fire sprinkler, so you don't want to hit the fire sprinkler, otherwise you have a major problem. All right. So what I'll do is I will. You first have to know in which direction are the 2x4s or the studs are running. So usually if your roof, the 2x4 is going to run along with your roof. And it kind of depends, so you have to be careful. Alright, so you got to first determine how the 2x4s are run. And you also have to determine the first location of a light. Alright, so say if I want to install it right here, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my stud finder, which is magnetic, use this, and I'm going to look for studs. Alright, so say if I run it along the wall, look, if you run it along the wall, and if it detects anything that's middle, it sticks. So I know that there's a nail here, I know that there's a stud there, and then if you want to know whether or not it's running this way or running that way, you can just kind of trace it along the line here, and sometimes this helps. I'm not saying that this will help all the time, and I'm going to assume that you know which direction it runs. If you don't, climb to the attic, that helps. Okay, so once I know that runs this way, I'm going to take my tape, my masking tape, and I'm just going to tape a line. This tells you that this is your stud. I want my light to be between the studs, and then I'm going to do it again. Oh, there's another stud right there, see? And don't always assume that it's the same value, because it's actually not. So I'm going to tape another line. That's my stud. Okay, I want my light to be here. This is between. Here's my sprinkler. I have to make sure that I'm avoiding any pipes up here. So first of all, what I did is I used the template that comes with the purchase. Okay. I drew a hole. Usually you want to go about 28 inches from the wall. And then it kind of depends on the perspective of the room. But I put this template here, I drew a circle, and then the next thing I did is I drill a hole in here, I stick up one of these wire, and then I went up into the attic to make sure that the wire is not next to, the pipe is nowhere near my light. And so I did that, and I was able to avoid, and I realized the pipe was running over here. This was the pipe, so I was able to avoid the pipe, which was kind of nice. Okay, so you measure this, and then you repeat the same pattern to these lights over here. Okay, and then if you go in about 31 inch from the wall, then you want to go about 31 inch from the wall, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to assume that you know how to position this. Okay, and then yeah, the wiring is pretty standard. What you want to do is, I think if you open this up, it's pretty standard. You buy Romex, which are kind of like these. These are Romex, and then you connect black to black, white to white. You start at this end, and then you run along to that end. Okay. And now, the tricky part is to connect from the light to the light switch. Now, if your home has like an existing light fixture, then you can tap it into your existing light fixture by going on into the attic. Like this home, it doesn't have an existing light fixture. So what I need to do is I need to go to the attic. I need to drill a hole And then I need to loop a wire down into this outlet and then connect it from the outlet. Alright? And I think, I didn't walk you through the process, but I hope by going over a little bit of, information like that, you have an idea on how to proceed your remodeling project. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a message and I'll get back to you and I'll try to help you as best as I could. But remember, make sure you turn off your electricity so that you don't get hurt. And that's it. Enjoy your project.